This is the scapula. You hold it like a pistol, like this. And whichever hand you can hold it in, that's the side of the scapula. Now, this scapula is a triangular bone. It has got a superior border, a lateral border, and a medial border. It has got three angles: the inferior angle, the superomedial angle, and the lateral angle. The lateral angle is swollen like this, and this is called as the glenoid cavity. This glenoid cavity articulates the head of the humerus. It has got a supraglenoid tubercle, it has got a supraglenoid tubercle, and an infraglenoid tubercle. The supraglenoid tubercle gives rise to long head of biceps, the infraglenoid tubercle to long head of triceps. The glenoid cavity, the anterior margin is concave, the posterior margin is convex. There is the glenoid capsule attached to it. Inside that is the superior, middle, and inferior glenohumeral ligaments, and then you have the glenoid labrum which is attached to this. Now, after the supraglenoid tubercle, we come to this finger-like process, bent finger-like process, which is directed anterolaterally. This is the coracoid process, and there are three muscles and three ligaments attached to it. The three ligaments are coracoacromial, coracohumeral, and coracoclavicular. The coracoclavicular has got a trapezoid and a conoid part. The trapezoid part is TRAE, which is anterior and external, and this holds the clavicle down. So if this coracoclavicular ligament is attached to the medial fragment of the fractured clavicle, it will not allow it to displace. And in acromioclavicular dislocation, this ligament must rupture, coracoclavicular. So three ligaments: coracoacromial, coracoclavicular, and coracohumeral. And the three muscles are coracobrachialis and long head and short head of biceps, and pectoralis minor. So this is the coracoid process. After that, you have a suprascapular notch. There is a transverse scapular ligament which is above this. The suprascapular nerve passes under it, and the suprascapular artery passes over it. The suprascapular nerve goes and supplies the supraspinatus, and then through the spinoglenoid notch, the infraspinatus. Medial to the suprascapular notch is attached the omohyoid. The omohyoid pulls the hyoid downwards. So nothing is attached to the superior border. On the medial border, from above downwards, it is attached the levator scapulae, the rhomboidus minor, and the rhomboidus major. The levator scapulae will elevate the scapula upwards. Actually, from the child, the scapula actually descends downwards. From upper position, it descends downwards during development. And so that the levator scapulae keeps on getting longer and longer. Supposing it doesn't get longer, then you have a high shoulder, undescended scapula, and that is called as the Sprengel's deformity. In the Sprengel's deformity, sometimes the levator scapulae is ossified or calcified. That is called as the omovertebral bar. Now, any muscle, levator scapulae, rhomboidus minor and rhomboidus major, which is attached to the medial border and attaching it to the spine, would retract the scapula. Then along the medial border, on the anterior surface of the medial border, is attached another muscle which goes like this and attaches to the rib. This is serratus anterior, and it will protract the scapula. Then on the lateral border, you have an area here which gives some origin to the latissimus dorsi. Then you have the teres major and the teres minor, and then you have the long head of triceps. So if we want to revise, glenoid cavity from inside outside, glenoid labrum, glenohumeral ligaments, capsule. Then supraglenoid tubercle, long head of biceps, infraglenoid tubercle, long head of triceps. Then coracoid process, 3 muscles, 3 ligaments. The 3 ligaments are coracoacromial, coracohumeral, coracoclavicular. Coracoclavicular is a very important ligament. Then transverse scapular ligament, the suprascapular nerve and artery passing over it. The omohyoid, nothing attached to the superior border. The levator scapulae, the rhomboides minor, the rhomboides major. And on this side, the teres major, the teres minor, and long head of triceps. Now, on the anterior surface, you have the subscapularis muscle attached to it. On the medial border here, you have the serratus anterior. Now, the posterior border is divided by the shelf-like process, which is the spine of the scapula. Now, on this spine of the scapula, there is a supraspinous space and the infraspinous space. On the supraspinous space, you have the supraspinatus, and the infraspinous space, you have the infraspinatus. And there is a notch between the glenoid and the spine, which is called as the spinoglenoid notch, which passes the nerve supply and the blood supply from the supraspinatus region to the infraspinatus region. Now, the spine of the scapula is sort of thickened on its posterior border. So, you have a superior border of the spine of the scapula which goes and becomes the medial border of the acromion process. Now, this is the anterior border and this is the lateral border, and then this is the inferior border of the spine of scapula, which has a tubercle here which is called as the deltoid tubercle. The trapezius muscle is attached to the medial third posterior border of the lateral third of clavicle on the spine of the scapula, on its medial side, and then on the inferior border of the spine of scapula up to the deltoid tubercle. From deltoid tubercle onwards, on the inferior border of the spine of scapula and on the lateral border and then onto the clavicle is attached the deltoid muscle. So, another important thing is that the transverse cervical artery, which arises from the subclavian artery, comes anterior and posterior to the levator scapulae, the rhomboides minor and rhomboides major on the medial border of the scapula. The suprascapular artery comes through the suprascapular notch in the infraspinous and supraspinous region, and then through the teres minor there is a circumflex scapular artery. So these 3 arteries, transverse cervical, suprascapular and circumflex scapular, form the anastomosis around the scapula. Now, supposing the scapula is undescended, then if you divide the scapula on its medial border, the levator scapulae would be detached, and against this medial border you can actually slide the scapula downward and re-anastomose the medial border with the descended lateral part of scapula. So that is the treatment of the sprangle deformity of the sprangle shoulder. Now we will tell you how to draw this out, and we will quickly revise the scapula. The glenoid cavity, capsule, glenohumeral ligaments, glenoid labrum, supraglenoid tubercle, long head of biceps, coracoid process, 3 muscles, coracobrachialis, short head of biceps, pectoralis minor, 3 ligaments, coracoacromial, coracohumeral, and coracoclavicular, the trapezoid and the conoid part. Very important to hold the clavicle downward. The suprascapular notch, the transverse scapular ligament, the nerve passing below, the artery passing above it. On the medial side, insertion of omohyoid, superior border, medial border, levator scapulae, rhomboides minor, rhomboides major. another muscle on the medial border going anteriorly and getting attached to the rib, pulling the scapula forwards, which is called as protraction. The rhomboides minor, levator scapulae and rhomboides minor, levator scapulae and rhomboides major. These muscles retracting the scapula. Then the lateral border, and for understanding the lateral border, we will develop the head of the humerus, the greater tuberosity, and we will develop the bicipital groove and the lesser tuberosity. Now we will attach the glenoid labrum here, we will attach the capsule, and then we will first put the teres minor muscle, and anteriorly we will put the subscapularis going to the lesser tuberosity. So the lax part of the capsule sandwiched between subscapularis and teres minor forms the superior boundary of the quadrangular space. The inferior boundary of the quadrangular space is formed by the teres major muscle, which is attached to the medial lip of the bicipital groove, and this attachment you can remember by lady between two majors. The one major is pectoralis major, the other major is teres major, and the latissimus dorsi winds around the teres major lower border and gets inserted in between. So the lady is in between two majors. Okay. Then you have the long head of triceps, which comes like this and then comes like this here. So it divides, this long head of triceps divides it into a quadrangular space bounded by subscapularis, lax part of capsule, teres minor superiorly, long head of triceps medially, surgical neck of humerus laterally, and teres major inferiorly. It passes the axillary nerve and the posterior circumflex humeral artery. Then you have the lateral triangular space, and this lateral triangular space is bounded by the teres major and latissimus dorsi combination superiorly, the long head of biceps medially, and shaft of humerus laterally. And it leads to what is called as the radial groove on the posterior surface of the humerus. The radial nerve and the profunda brachii artery pass through this lateral triangular space into the radial groove. Nothing passes through the medial triangular space bounded by teres minor, teres major, and long head of triceps. Nothing passes through this, but teres minor is there is a circumflex scapular artery which goes a branch of axillary artery which goes into the infraspinatus region, piercing the teres minor. So there is a groove here in the lateral border of the scapula. So this is the view from in front. Now we will go on to see the scapula from behind. If you see the scapula from behind, you have the glenoid cavity, the lateral border, the medial border, the supraglenoid tubercle, the coracoid, the suprascapular notch, and like this. But what you have to add is a shelf-like projection with the acromion process on the lateral side, and the shelf-like projection, there is a spinoglenoid notch which divides the shelf into a supraspinous and an infraspinous space. So there is a supraspinatus and an infraspinatus here, and on this there will be the attachment of the clavicle. So from the posterior border of the clavicle, the upper border of the spine of the scapula, the medial border of the spine of scapula, and inferior border right up to the deltoid tubercle, you will have the origin of trapezius. You will have the origin of a huge muscle which is the trapezius, and from the deltoid tubercle up to its outer border of the acromion and then anterior border of the clavicle, you will have the origin of the deltoid muscle. Alright. And so this is the trapezius, this is the deltoid, and the third muscle that is coming from this side is the latissimus dorsi, which is taking some origin from the inferior part of the lateral border also. So this space between the deltoid, trapezius and latissimus dorsi is called as the triangle of auscultation, because you can hear the lungs best through this space. So this is the anatomy of the scapula in short, and I have told you about the undescended scapula, the sprangle shoulder, the omovertebral bar, and when the scapula is not descended on both sides, it leads to a short neck and a low hairline, and that is called as Klippel Feil syndrome. So this is short, and then you are now asked to remember this and answer the questions in the Google Classroom, single liners.